All right, natural settling. So this is your 5-minute opportunity to be, according to some traditions, free of karma, because you are now in a meditation situation, so that anything that arises is, according to those traditions that say this, going to be free of all the stuff that I'm going to tell you about when we finish. All right. All right. Okay. First, a couple of announcements, and one is about this coming Monday next week, the 3rd. We are going to have a special guest lecturer. Her name is Jennifer Daubin-Meyer. She was a graduate student here, and she got her degree. She did a relevant and very interesting dissertation, and she is now working for Dean Ornish, organizing his research program. And Monday is the topic that a lot of you, I know, have been waiting for. When are we going to get to the Western research? And she is actively engaged in that and is going to give you a wonderful overview. And be sure to come to class in person and tell your friends, because nothing from the lecture may appear on the website. She may not do an outline. And also because her slides are not prepared with the simplicity needed to be captured necessarily by the webcast, because she's, there's stuff that she's done for talks and so on that are done with more stuff on them. And also because you can ask her questions if you're here, and it will just be generally nice. She's a great person. Okay, DSP people, you need to, tell me who you are so that I can request the stuff that you need. The warnings came from the DSP office that because of budget cuts, there are scarce resources, and therefore not everyone can be accommodated, and it's first come, first serve. So this aroused my mama bear's form of jealous god realm of scarce resources. How do I get my cubs to have the resources? And I can't do anything about it until I know who you are, and I can say, here are the people, and here's what we need, and give it to us. Okay. Okay, karma. This is the causal impetus that keeps samsara running. And today is the last day that you're going to see that guy with the wheel in his mouth and his claws. So I've given you your own black and white copy of it, because today is also the day when we see the whole picture. And the karmic ring is around the outside, and we'll get to the whole picture. Okay, there's some general things to say about karma before we get to the technical part. So first, I want to dispel some of our cultural myths about what karma is. By our, I mean, when I say we or our, that is not the royal we. I either mean, well, in the narrowest sense, me and your 3 GSIs, or I mean we Western scientists who do research, or we in our culture, meaning kind of American culture, or we meaning us human beings, and maybe some other things. Okay, what karma isn't. Okay, it does not mean fate. That is, from the point of view of Buddhism, karma is causality up to the present moment, but the future has not happened yet. This may seem kind of like an ordinary truism, but do you really believe that when you worry? And just to make this clear, a couple of times ago when I taught this class, there was an MCB student whose mother was taking from a culture that believes in karma, and her family was Buddhist, and her mother took a great interest and active role in, they lived in San Francisco, in her student's career. And so she, each semester, would go to the Berkeley website and find classes that she thought her daughter should take for her electives and so on. Some of you, a few of you may have run into something like this. And so it was her mother who had found this class and, decided, good thing, because her daughter was growing up, in our culture. So, and her mother then wanted to know what I was saying in the class and whether it was right or not. So she had to give a weekly report to her mother, and I was passing the mom test until we got to karma. So at that time, it was a different class, and we got only the technical part of it, because, this was and we were still in the phase of reading sutras in the readings, which, oh, you should be so happy that that phase is over. Whatever you think of the readings, comparison to what they had. And my mother said, no, karma means that you should be good and you should work hard, because then that, changes your karmic pattern. So, okay, everyone be good and work hard. It's something like the 12-step program, Serenity Prayer. 12 steps started with Alcoholics Anonymous, and now it's spread to all kinds of support and addiction to a variety of things, which we're addicted to varieties of things. And the Serenity Prayer goes something like asking to be able to accept the things that can't be changed, to change the things that can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So that's something of the atmosphere that goes with belief in karma. Now, karma is also not me coming back as me to be reborn in this life. You'll be surprised, because we've spent all this time on egolessness, right? There's no me to begin with, and correct. And in general, karma is not just about past lives, though it includes that, because impermanence and egolessness, the general principle of causality, and it's the moment-to-moment, event-to-event, day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year causality in this life. Each moment is born and gets old and dies, and we're reborn. Each kind of event, thing that we're, this class, it has a beginning and a middle and an end. You may have discovered, had a literature course that talked about that principle in drama. Things, they're born, they do their thing, they decline, and poof, and then the next thing comes along. So it's about that, and that's actually the central part from the meditative, contemplative, psychological point of view. And it just so happens that it also extends, according to the theory or the doctrine, to when the whole life you're born and you do your thing and then you die, and this kind of causality continues. So now it's this, the moment-to-moment, event-to-event, day-to-day, you go to sleep, you wake up, you may wake up and say, huh, for a minute, what's that noise? Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, I'm me, yeah. This is what, I need to do today. And so this is what we can actually see happening, and it can actually be used when you see what's happening. And so that's what we're going to focus on here. I personally have no idea, no legitimate idea of what goes on after the body actually decays and dies. And so, but us can observe things right now. Okay, and we've already seen some of this in the realms, how aggression breeds aggression, and desire breeds more desire, especially when you're really into it. And that's the kind of thing that can be looked at. There's a folk saying, what goes around comes around, that kind of thing that you can see in action right now. Okay, the functions of the idea of karmic causality. So it explains the coherence of experience without a substance itself. And this is the answer to a number of the questions that I've been asked, and you may be asking yourself if you've thought about this of, what do you mean, birth and death, moment to moment, and impermanence and egolessness? I mean, I can predict things. I'm me. I'm kind of the same from day to day. It's the same, all of that. And, the class is predictable. I handed out a syllabus. I'm following the syllabus so far. Well, okay, we've got now a principle of causality. And it works, here's an analogy, a classical image, that you take one candle and you light it, and then there's a row of candles, and you light one of the candles with it and blow out this candle, and then pick up the one you just lit and light the candle next to it and blow out this candle. And thus it proceeds that you don't need to say there's a whole candle lighting thing. It's one to another, and that's how causality works in the universe. What happens the moment before is it contains everything that's come before, and then that everything that's come before is the immediate cause of what happens next, and then everything that came before, and so on, without there having to be a thing that's continuous, which is, you can think of it as a principle in science that you don't need things. Physics got rid of substance a long time ago. Psychology keeps a lot of things around. This is for the site majors. You know, if you want to apply to this to other classes, think what are those things that are still hanging around that are like substance in physics, like maybe representations or whatever. Now, functions for people of this idea. Well, you have to distinguish the doctrine of the belief in past lives, which is at that conceptual level that some people have, and this moment-to-moment observations that I just talked about. Now, really believing in past lives, most Western Buddhists or meditators within any meditation tradition mostly just don't grok back, and that's fine. At least in this culture, you don't have to be doing all the rest of the stuff in this life. And what is a belief anyhow? You know, it's really a complex thing. It has many levels and aspects. It's not just propositions. You can sit and you can Twitter to yourself in your mind, I believe in X, Y, Z. And then when a situation where if you really deep down believe in it, you act in way X, you don't, you act in way Y. All religious traditions are always giving sermons about this to their people. Why are they giving sermons? Because people, you know, it's not in various ways. And it's how these propositions get hooked up with everything else, your habits, your whole life. So for people from Buddhist cultures where it is all hooked up, belief in karma, including the whole past lives things, explains things, it gives meaning, does all these nice things. It functions more or less the way religious beliefs do